Hey team, welcome back. So in this video we're going to discuss the different types of turns. I already showed you how we can turn in place, but that is what we call a point turn, where your robot turns around a central point located midway between the wheels. So in this case, this is an old EV3 Mindstorm robot, where we're turned roughly around like the center point roughly here. Right? One wheel is going to go forward, while the other wheel goes backward, and the robot is essentially going to turn in place like I showed you already, and it's just going to change direction, right? And here's an image of what that kind of looks like, right? It's turning in place. All it's doing is just changing what direction it's facing, okay? And we've already talked about that code. Remember, it looks like this, right? You set your movement motors to C and D, you set your speed to 50%, or whatever speed, you set a weight block, and you drag in a move block, change it from forward to either a left or right turn, and you change your units to rotations. Now remember, the rotations, it's the rotations of the wheel, not the rotation of the robot. And you always put in a hard stop after your turn to put the brakes on it, and this exits the program because this is all I was showing you. For the next type of turn, right, it's called a swing or a drag turn. Now a swing or a drag turn is where the robot turns around a central point that is located at one of the wheels, right? So this time it's turning around a center point, which is going to be the wheels instead of the center point of the robot. So one wheel is going to go forward or reverse, while the other wheel does not move at all. Now the benefit of this is it could be like a really wide, smooth turn, so it's going to look kind of sort of like this, right? It's still doing a right-hand turn, but it's kind of have an arc to it, so it's a little bit more of a wide turn. And then, so for that, if we were to program that, it starts out the same, right? We're always going to set our movement motors, we're always going to set our speed, and we can change it throughout the code, but before a turn, it's good to set your speed if you need to change it. You're going to have a 1 second wait block, but instead of dragging in the move block and then change it, you're actually going to drag in this move block here, where it says right 30 for 10 centimeters. So you're going to change your centimeters to rotations and change this, you're going to explore this and kind of figure out what works best for you in that situation. But if you check right, so I can go right or left. This is kind of like a steering wheel. This is like move steering. This way you can set, this is setting like how sharp your turn is, right? So if it's to the right at about 20, it's going to be a nice wide sweeping turn. If you set it to 100, well, it's going to be very, very sharp. Right? And you notice to the right, the number is positive. To the left, the number is negative. That's how you can tell kind of which direction you're going. And then again, stop moving and exit program. Okay? So that is a swing or a drag turn instead of a point turn, which is turning in place. So both turns have their applications, right? So here are the relationships between the two types of turns. For a point turn, which is the turning in place that I showed you, you need half as many rotations as a swing or a drag turn because your wheels don't have to turn as much. Since one's going forward and one's going backward, the amount of rotations of the wheels do not necessarily have to be as much as a swing or a drag turn. They're very good in tight spaces, so if you don't have a lot of room in order to do a turn, you're going to want to turn in place and using your point turn. However, it's less forgiving of errors, right? Since it's really short and concise, if you overshoot, you're not going to be able to get back from it very easily. As opposed to a swing or a drag turn, you will need twice as many rotations as a point turn because only one wheel is doing the turning, so that one wheel has to do the rotations of two wheels. You're going to need more space. However, it's more forgiving of errors. Since it's a wide sweeping turn, you can make it a wide sweeping turn, you're able to get away with a couple, if it's not as dialed in as you would have liked, right? So make sure, you can use both of these turns whenever you feel necessary. Explore both of them. It's really, really good to have both of these turns in your toolbox. All right? Hope this was helpful. Good luck.